Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Manya, and this is my 6-month update of living in Japan. If you've been with me for a while, you know that in May of 2023, I moved to Nagoya, Japan. My husband's job moved us here for about 2 years, and I promised to take you along on the whole adventure, and I have kind of failed you. And I've heard from a few of you asking where I've been, and I owe you all an apology. I thought that I would enjoy taking you all everywhere with me, showing you Japan. The truth of the matter is, I don't think I'm cut out for that. I feel too self-conscious having a camera everywhere. To me, it takes away from my personal experience, and I don't feel like that's worth it. And it's just a lot of work. So I'm not gonna do that, and I'm sorry about that. But I wanna give you a wrap up. I have a lot of pictures and videos of the last 6 months, and I hope you enjoy. The first month we were here, we lived in a hotel. We were put up in a hotel by my husband's employer, and that was a pretty great experience, I have to say. The worst part was the food for me. If you've been here for a while, you know that I lost quite a bit of weight on Weight Watchers, known as WW, and I backslid a bit because I had to find food for 3 meals a day. We had to go out to eat. So one of the motivating factors for getting into this house we're in now was simply to be able to cook our own food and to have our own space. But living in a hotel, other than that, was pretty great. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to do laundry or cleaning, and I just spent my days exploring this amazing city that I now call home and working out. That's pretty much all I did with my time. So that was pretty great. And then mid-June, we moved into our house. That first month, we didn't travel. All we did was adjust. My husband started his new job, I explored the city, and then on the weekends, I would take him to do things that I had found during the week. Nagoya is one of the largest cities in Japan. People haven't heard of it, I had never heard of it, because it is not a tourist city. It's more of an industrial town. That's why we're here. It has one of the highest GDP in the country. It's a pretty wealthy city, but it's not a tourist city. So in the beginning of June, we moved into this house, and we took the month of June pretty much to get settled. We had to literally buy everything. We came to this country with about 5 suitcases, mostly full of clothes and beauty and medicine, because there are things we cannot get here. So we didn't come with any furniture. We had a shipment sent, mostly of clothes. We thought we were gonna end up in a little apartment, so we actually didn't put much into our shipment, and we were given a furniture budget, a household good budget, essentially. So we had to buy everything from all the silverware, to beds, to TVs, to everything. So we spent the month of June doing all of that. We went to IKEA multiple times. And July is really when we started traveling. And in July, we went to Hiroshima. I wanted Hiroshima to be the first place that we visited because it is such a significant city, both to the Japanese and to us as Americans. I felt like sort of paying homage and just I wasn't directly involved in bombing the city, but I feel a sense of responsibility as an American, and I just wanted to see it first. And what an experience. If you come to Japan, I highly recommend that you visit Hiroshima. Even if you're not an American, it is very moving, the decision the Japanese have made around this city. It is clear that sometime, just a few years after the bomb was dropped, that someone in the city, someone in a position of power, made a decision that the focus of the rebuilding and the revitalization of the city was going to be around peace and looking forward. Now, you can't visit the area without going to Miyajima Island. This is one thing, this has turned out to be one of my favorite things so far, one of the most moving areas so far. I've now been twice to Miyajima Island. You would recognize it because of the huge red torii gate that's so photogenic that you've probably seen lots of pictures of. Depending on the tide, you can either walk out under it or not. It is just gorgeous. The shrine there that accompanies the torii gate is beautiful. And then you can take a ropeway, 2 ropeways actually, to the top of Miyajima Island. You can summit. We did all of this on a very hot day in July, which was pretty insane. And then when my parents were here in October, I went back on my own. I had a day to myself and I went back to Miyajima Island. It is just gorgeous, and it's one of the best things in Japan that I've discovered so far. Obviously, I have a lot more to discover, but I love Miyajima Island. That was July. And then in August, we climbed Mount Fuji. Yes, we climbed Mount Fuji. And when people ask me what it was like, what I say is, it was the hardest physical thing I have ever done in my life, and I am also in the best shape of my life. It was hell. I'm not gonna lie. It was awful. It was terrible. This was my husband's idea. This was Danny's idea. And we watched a lot of videos. And the thing about the videos that we watch is nobody sort of encapsulates how hard it is. Now, granted, we did not take the crowded trail. There's multiple trails, and we went with a guided group, and we did not take the easiest trail. The easiest trail is the most crowded, of course. We went on one of the harder trails, and there were times that when we were ascending, and I would look up and it looked almost vertical. It was so very hard. I won't go too deeply into it, and I have absolutely no footage from the way down because it was raining. We did not summit, unfortunately. We got all the way to the 8th mountain hut, which is as high as you can go. It's about 11,000 feet, I believe, 3,200 meters. But there were typhoon conditions the morning we were supposed to summit, and so we chose not to go up there. That was the right choice. There was nothing to see. There were people who climbed up, but there was no sunrise to see. There were 40-mile-an-hour winds, and it was pouring rain. I don't believe in doing things that don't have any payoff. Those people got to say they summited, that's it. So it was more of an ego decision than anything else. But the way down was raining. I didn't have my phone out. We didn't have cameras out. It was hard. So everything you're seeing is on the way up. So that was August. We have been trying to do a trip every month. We did not take a trip in September because my parents arrived in September at the end. And so what I did, and what I've actually been doing this whole time, I'm doing a lot of hiking with this group of women that I've met, also a lot of day trips. There's this incredible group of expat women here. I was so worried I wouldn't be able to make friends, and yet I have more things to do than I have time for. In fact, I'm having to turn down things. I could do stuff with these women 4 or 5 days a week if I wanted to. And then my parents arrived at the end of September, and they were here all the way up until, for me, all the way up until, for me, about less than a week ago. So they were here for a full month. With my parents, we spent time in Nagoya in between trips. So we did things like we went to the symphony, we went to a professional basketball game, we went to, I had a food tour of this incredible shopping area, and then we traveled. So with my parents, we went to Osaka, Kyoto, and Nara. That was almost a full week, and that's a pretty typical thing to do as a tourist. The other trip we took was to Hiroshima, and then we also went to Tokyo. We were there Monday through Friday, and on Wednesday my parents went on a 10-hour bus tour to go see Mount Fuji, and I skipped that. And then the other days we went and just experienced things like the Shibuya street crossing. That's that massive street crossing that you've seen a million times in videos and photos. Museums, we went to the Imperial Palace grounds, all the Tokyo stuff. Then they left. And by the time you see this video, I will be in the Maldives. Now this is our big trip of the year. We're going over my husband's birthday, but that will be our November and probably December trip. If we do anything in December, it'll be inside the country for a weekend. The Maldives is an expensive trip. It's a big trip. We're going for 10 days, staying at 2 different resorts. It's 15 hours of travel to get there. It's not close to us. It's closer than going from the US, which is why we're going, but it's not particularly close. And so that brings us to today. So 6 months. We are a quarter of the way through our time here in Japan already, which is insane. It's insane to me. 2 years is going to fly by. That's where I am. That's an update from me. It's good to see you all again. Thank you to those of you who emailed me and pushed me to continue to do videos. I'm finding them a little harder to do than I was when it was just WW. That felt very clear. So things are less clear, but if you do want to hear more from me, let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.